Fighting has been made obligatory for you, much to your dislike. It is quite possible, Allah says, وَعَسَىٰ أَن تَكْرَهُوا شَيْئًا وَهُوَ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ وَعَسَىٰ أَن تُحِبُّوا شَيْئًا وَهُوَ شَرٌ لَكُمْ وَاللَّهُ يَعْلَمُ وَأَنْتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. It is quite possible that something which you do not like is good for you, and that something which you love is bad for you. Allah knows and you do not know. Now, the Sahaba, the companions, had wanted to fight against the mushrikeen, the disbelievers of Makkah. And they had been saying to the Prophet ﷺ, tell us, when can we fight? But he always told them, no, you cannot retaliate, cannot do anything back to them. When finally in Medina, Allah gave the command, now you can fight, then some of the companions felt hesitant. We can't do it. It's a big thing. We can't fight. We can't give up our lives. There was nothing wrong with their iman, with their faith. Nothing whatsoever, but it's something natural in us. That when we're faced with the reality of that thing that we wanted so much, suddenly it seems like something very, very difficult to do. And this was the situation of the companions. So Allah tells them, maybe you don't like it, but ultimately it's good for you. It is something that you have to do, and it will bring you good in the end. Is this not the case in life? Have you found there's something you really, really, really want, and then when it gets to the point where you can have it or you can do it, you're like, I don't think I can do this anymore. This is really hard. This is really tough. Is that not the case? It's a psychology. It's the way that Allah has made us. And that's what Allah is showing us here. Even if you think it's not good for you, go ahead and do it. If we gave up every single time something was hard, would we ever achieve anything? If we gave up every time we didn't want to do something that we don't like, would we achieve something? Would we actually get somewhere? We wouldn't. So Allah teaches us, push through that and do that thing anyway, because ultimately He is saying to you, it's good for you. Allah knows, you do not know. Allah knows what is good for you. And you can apply this even to all of the commands that come down, one after the other. In the second part of Surah Baqarah, it feels like, do this, do this, do this, do this. It seems very, very difficult. But all of these are for the betterment of the Muslims. They ask you about war in the sacred month. Tell them hating in this month is a big offense. But to prevent from the path of Allah, to deny Him, to prevent an access to and expel His worshippers from Al-Masjid Al-Haram are more severe crimes in the sight of Allah. And mischief is worse than killing. As for the unbelievers, they will not cease fighting until they succeed in turning you back from your religion, if they can. If any one of you turns back from his religion and dies an unbeliever, his deeds will become void in this life and in the hereafter. He will be the inmate of the hellfire to live therein forever. Surely those who believed, migrated, and struggled in the path of Allah, they are the ones who can hope for the mercy of Allah. Allah is forgiving and merciful. Any comments about the verses so far? They're quite straightforward. And the second juz is different to the first juz. The first juz is very much about Bani Israel, and the second juz, as I mentioned, command after command. Not just commands, but different acts of worship are mentioned. So these are all the things that will make the ummah of the Prophet ﷺ, the nation of the Prophet ﷺ, firm in their deen. They ask you about drinking and gambling. Tell them there is great sin in both. And although they may have some benefit for men, but their sin is greater than their benefit. So in drinking and gambling, this is something that was common at the time before Islam came. Both of these things were common within society. Allah tells us that even if you see some benefit in both of them, in either of them, and what benefit could there be in gambling? Someone who doesn't have money wins a whole load of money. And you could say, look, a poor person got so much money, so there's a benefit in it. But Allah tells us that the sin is greater than any benefit that you may perceive. وَيَسْأَلُونَكَ مَاذَا يُنْفِقُونَ. And they ask you what they should spend. قُلِ الْعَفْوِ. Tell them what is beyond your needs. Another question of the companions. They ask, what should they spend? Meaning, what of our things should we spend? The answer that Allah gives them is spend. Afu means excess of what you need. So give up whatever you do not need. De-junk. Get rid of the things that you have no need for. If you haven't used something in a year, then it's likely you're not going to need it over the next year either. And you'll notice that Allah does not give a detailed answer. Go into your closet and remove the things that you don't need anymore, and go into your children's closet and remove the things. And you should also look throughout your house, all of the little bits and pieces that you don't really need and you've collected over. There's no such kind of detail given in the Quran. But a principle is given. Afif, and if you look into the word, it means anything extra. Give from that. And each of us now use our own intellect, our own mind, to see what is extra, what is not a need for me. I haven't used it for this long and it's not a need for me anymore. People are making so much money teaching other people how to get rid of stuff. This is actually something that has turned into a big business. People are making money telling others, I'll come into your house and I will show you how to de-junk and get rid of what you don't need. Allah already told us this over 1400 years ago. Use your own intellect, get rid of the things that are not a need anymore. And a side note, in the society we live in, lots of things are shown to us as a need when actually they're not a need. So we have to be careful to be able to filter, what do I really need and what am I being told that I need? Which indicates we have to use our minds, wake up a bit more and think about all the things that we have and de-junk. And it's true, I said that people make a lot of money out of this, but they talk about the fact that it lightens a load off your mind. Physically you feel lighter when you have got rid of all this excess stuff that is cluttering. So, قُلِ الْعَفْوِ, Allah says, what is beyond your needs, get rid of it. Thus, Allah makes His revelations clear to you so that you may reflect upon this world